Professor Andrew Hamilton, welcome to the programme.
Hello, Tiki.
Now, governments in both Australia and Britain over the last decade or so have tried the same experiment, turning universities into businesses and at the extreme, students into customers. Has it worked?
Well, let me say, for us, our business is the business of teaching and education and research. And so we focused a very large part of our emphasis on ensuring that we have the resources to be a world-class centre for teaching and research. It's a very expensive proposition.
Have the top research universities like Oxford come through this experiment a little better, though, because of their ability to attract more funding?
Well, again, I think funding comes in many different forms, and we seek to ensure that we retain the very highest level of research, but in fact that's also intimately connected to the quality of the teaching that we provide undergraduate students. And so at a place like Oxford, you really cannot separate that strength in research from the strength in teaching.
Well, one of the criticisms of all this is that the collateral damage could indeed be the quality of the teaching, and that the almost obsession with research at universities like Oxford and indeed Melbourne here in Australia has led to a great haven for postgraduates at the expense of undergraduates.
Oh, I really don't think that has been the case in Oxford. We have been committed, and you refer to it, Tiki, as a great experiment. Oxford is nearly 900 years old. You know, we have had a long experience of focusing our attention on the student. The student has always been at the heart of what we do in Oxford University. You're yourself experienced as an undergraduate the tutorial teaching method that we have really focused all of our attention and our work on. And so I don't feel in Oxford that there has been a lessening. It is a strengthening as we have become, and over many decades and centuries, world-class in our research. That actually enhances our teaching, because there is nothing more important for a student than being taught by those people who are themselves at the forefront of their fields, and they stay at the forefront by being involved in research.
Now, I know at Yale you were a great supporter of the undergraduate, but can you at Oxford back two horses? Because Oxford is so well funded. I mean, you've got differential funding in the UK anyway, and you've got Oxford University Press, which is an extraordinary business with charitable status.
Well, let me say, Oxford University Press is very much part of the university. It's a department of the university. It helps us fulfil our educational mission through its publication. And yes, it certainly has played an important role in supporting very key student scholarships. For example, our Clarendon Scholars. We have many Australian students who are supported in Oxford through the Clarendon Scholarship Programme, which is funded by Oxford University Press. It's a key part of those activities.
Just how tough is the competition for students among the top global universities? I know you're visiting grammar schools in Melbourne and Sydney this week, and top universities like NYU are delivering their message of being much more undergraduate friendly.
Yes, well, let me say that the links between Oxford and Australia are strong, and they are long-standing. Many of Oxford's leading academics are from Australia, and we like to think that we have contributed massively to the development of Australia, politicians and leading figures here having been educated in Oxford. Again, I think for us, the message is very much that in Oxford University, whether an undergraduate student or a graduate student, you are exposed to world-leading scholars. Oxford is a magnet. It's a place that people come to because of the quality of the research, the quality of the teaching we provide. That extends further when we look at the great collections in the Bodleian Library, in the Ashmolean, the Pitt Rivers Museum. All of them contribute to the quality of the research and teaching that we're able to offer. And yes, you're right, there's intense global competition for students. I view that as healthy. I think it's very good that we are, of course, competing with Harvard, with Yale. You mentioned NYU and its international programs, but let's not not forget that competition now is extending very much to other parts of the world. We're increasingly seeing Tsinghua and Peking University, the IITs in India, really starting to step up to the plate and becoming, certainly on trajectories to become world-class universities in the very near future.
We're now seeing universities open up more and more campuses overseas in places like India. Now, we've had experiments over here, for instance, Monash in South Africa, where there were a few burnt fingers. Is that the sort of model that Oxford is following to build on its brand and its global reputation?
Well, let me say Oxford already has a global brand. I like to point out to people that Oxford took its first international student in 1190. His name was Emo of Friesland. And we have been international for 900 years. It's very much in our DNA to be linking throughout the world. We have extensive collaborations. We have parts of the university. We have research centres in Thailand, in Vietnam, in Laos, in Kenya. We have major research collaborations in China.
But that's how you're driving it, isn't it? It's research on the ground rather than opening up campuses.
Well, this phrase campus, that it took Oxford University 900 years to build one campus. It will likely take us another 900 to build another. So we do not foresee the opening of international campuses being part of Oxford's international strategy. That being said, we have enormous links and collaborations and exchange programs where students come to Oxford and Oxford students go abroad to enhance their education. And so we don't see the opening of international campuses as being part of our international future, but we absolutely do see the strengthening of our links throughout the world as being a very vital part of the future of the university.
You caught up with the G8, the group of 8 vice-chancellors last night at Chatham House, I'm sure, but was the most serious issue for you all still that of funding?
Oh, I think for all of us. So you're quite right. I met last night with the vice-chancellors of the group of 8 universities here in Australia. They face many of the same issues we face. We seek to be at the very pinnacle of higher education in the world. That is an expensive prospect. High quality undergraduate education, cutting-edge research is expensive. And so there will always be a challenge to ensure the right levels of funding to allow us to stay at that very pinnacle of world-class ranking. I am delighted that the links that Oxford has with Group of 8 universities are already strong, and last night we talked about opportunities to strengthen them, to find ways in which we can encourage professors to collaborate and to take sabbaticals and research trips to each other's universities, the way to encourage research collaborations, the way to encourage student exchanges from here in Australia to Oxford.
Now, yesterday we spoke to Sir Richard Lambert, who did a review on university and business collaboration in the UK. Now, we haven't done anything like that down here. It found that one of the best ways to transfer knowledge was to actually get talented researchers into the business world and businessmen back into the university. Has that been picked up?
Oh, I think there has been great interest in Sir Richard's report, and in many ways it reinforces what has already been a very strong part, certainly of Oxford University. I'm a graduate of Cambridge, so I can talk a little bit about Cambridge as well. They have both been very successful and very focused on ensuring that discoveries made in the laboratories and the libraries of the universities find their way into society. And one of the best ways of doing that is through developing links with industry, through initiating spin-out companies. Oxford has been very successful through its technology transfer arm, which is called ISIS. That now is present throughout the world, and we've had great success In the last decade, we've started more than 60 companies in the UK and abroad based on technology developed in Oxford University. And so this idea of universities being ivory towers is a century out of date. We are very intimately linked with the societies around us, and one of the key elements of that link is developing ways to ensure that the research that is carried out in the universities also has an impact on economic development of both the region and the nation.
Business schools, we've certainly had our low points over here, but the Saïd Business School in Oxford has won a global reputation almost overnight. How has it achieved this, and was it largely because of the bucket of money from Mr. Saïd?
Oh, certainly the marvellously generous gift from Wafiq Saïd to initiate the Saïd Business School now is not quite overnight. It's nearly 20 years ago that the business school began in Oxford. I guess in 900 years, that's still a blink of an eyelash. But that being said, there is no question that the reason for the success of the Saïd Business School, and it's been a great success in recent years, has been that it's embedded in Oxford University. It's very much linked to the rest of the university, to this great strength in the humanities that Oxford has had over so many decades and centuries, to the strength in medicine and the sciences. It's those strong links, then amplified through the focus on business, the development of cutting-edge business education within the Saïd Business School, that's seen its steady rise up the rankings, that's seen its recognition as one of the leading business schools in the world. So we're very pleased. We've just recruited a new dean to lead the Saïd Business School, a man called Peter Tufano, a distinguished professor of finance from the Harvard Business School. And Peter took over the reins at Saïd about 3 weeks ago, and we're looking forward to even greater things from the Saïd Business School in the coming years.
Professor Andrew Hamilton, a very interesting interview for us. Thank you so much for joining us.
Tiki, thank you very much indeed.